I had the reading scheduled, but the client canceled the consultation. So I thought we can have some short questions and answer session. And if you have any questions, then we can go through them. What career does Mars in 6th house and Jupiter in 10th house represents for Aries Ascendant? 6th house, it is an Upachaya house. It's an Upachaya house, and basically the word Upa means that someone is going up. It's like up. So Upa is something up, something is increasing. And Chaya, basically the word Chaya refers to a heap or pile of something. So this means that the houses of Upachaya, which is the 3rd, 6th, 10th, and 11th, these 4 houses are Upachaya. It means that in these houses you have a growth. The 6th house, this is the house in which Brahma created you. So if you have a strong malefics in those houses, then you may have very strong body. Because when we see the chart, it has basically the 4 doors. This is the 1st house, 4th house, 7th house, and 10th house. So in the 1st house, you have the Dharma, which is the Dharma Trikona. And this is showing your intelligence, and this is also showing your body. So the planets in the 3rd, 6th, 10, and 11, they are basically increasing the Lagna. They are increasing the fame. They are increasing the intelligence. So if you have the planets, if you have, for example, the Lagna Lord, Ascendant Lord in those houses, then your fame increases, your intelligence increases. So when you have Mars in the 6th house, then it is definitely making you a person who is, Lagna Lord is in 6th house, then these people may want to grow in life. They may be famous. The thing is that they are famous because of Mars. So the more conflicts you have in life, the more fame you have, the more struggle, the more fight, the more fame, the more health. Even the health can be better. But if you have a lot of affliction in the 6th house, then eventually you will be you can be defeated by your enemies. So the 6th house is driven by competition. For the 6th house, the main karaka, the main significator is the Mars, not Saturn. So Saturn is for 8 and 12. So being the 9th lord in the 10th house now, this is pushing this energy of international work, academical work, anything related to it. Now it is something related to Jupiter. So your work, your finances are somehow related to Jupiter. And as I said, the Akasha, the Tattva of Jupiter is ether, right? So it's Akasha. So your career life is spreading, right? It's either international, you may travel a lot. It depends on the Karaka which are having the Drishti and so on. So I would say this is quite good positions, which is the house of the career life. So 10th house is related to Artha. So basically if we have a chart, this is the Kendras. Houses are most important. Everything comes to our life through Kendras. And this is related to the concept of Purushottama. Purushottama means that we as human beings are having a 4 type of direction and 4 type of resources. We could also say 4 path. 1 is related to Dharma, which is the 1st house. 4th is related to our spirituality. 7th house is related to relationship. And 10th house is related to our Artha, which is how we sustain ourselves. So it is all about the 10th house. And of course, you may see this 10th house from various points, right? And they will have the different meaning. So basically 10th house from Lagna is how you work. It's more about how you work. But when we talk about the career life, then very important point is 10th from the moon. So basically, if you don't have a career life, if there is any problem with career life, then you need to check your 10th from moon, I would say. You may also see the Mercury, if Mercury is blocked, and also how is the Mercury placed from the Aruda Lagna. Ultimately, the chart of career life is, of course, we know the Shamsa chart. The Shamsa is the specific chart, is the divisional chart, which is created by dividing the sign to 10 parts. Now it can start either from 1st house or from the 9th house, depending on if the sign is odd or even, and then it has 10 houses, right? It has 10 division, which is starting from that specific sign. So the Shamsa will show how your career life look like in that working environment. It may be office, you may be traveling, you may work from home, right? You may have some businesses related to traveling, to signing deals. So all that will depend on your dashamsa. And Navamsha is also very important, the 10th house, because that will show the big things, what is fortunate for you, what is bringing you the wealth. So basically the Rasi chart is showing more about your character, right? It is showing your character, what you like, what you don't like, how you like to work. Because the Lagna is our character. And these houses, they are basically the extension of us. It is very much related to our body. It's very much related to how we work, how we do things. So therefore, it is more related to that. So if you have many planets in 10th from the moon, then we could say that the society is more pushing you towards the work. Right? So basically everything, we are always talking about the relationship, health, and career life, right? So these are also the Kendras. This is the first is our health, how we look like. So this is the Sun and Jupiter, right? Our intelligence and our soul, how we are presenting ourselves. This is the Lagna. The Lagna is important, right? Then we have the 10th house, because we are going in the Vakri direction in the retrograde. So then we are going to career life. Our career life, we have to sustain ourselves. Basically a privileged position to work in career life, which is connected to what we like to do. Most of the people, they are working in the jobs or professions which they just want to get money and do something else. So this is also very interesting. I've heard very interesting comparison, or a very interesting relation, that in the current time, when the late stage capitalism is working, basically the offline time is the work time, right? So we are working offline, right, in the work, or we have to go somewhere, and this is our offline time. Now we have to end this just to get some food on the table, right? And after we do this, then we are starting our real life, which is online life, right? So this is kind of dystopic perspective, similar to Black Mirror or something like that. And in this online world, we can basically create ourselves, right? I think that many of you will resonate with that idea, that basically in online we are trying to be whoever we want, right? And we are having some battles, we are having some wins, we can fight with people, we can argue, we can create our avatar, basically. We are like creating our own avatar, right? And we are navigating this avatar in this online world, which has totally different rules. And in that online world, there is this unification, I would say. There is the unification between what we want to do, our desires, and whatever we are doing there, right? And then when these basic needs and requirements for survival in this Maslow triangle, right? This basic needs, when this is satisfied, then we are going to this higher triangle, and this higher perspective, this higher levels of this triangle, they are basically the online world. In that Maslow triangle, right, the basic needs are totally on the bottom, and they are fulfilled by the offline world, right? We have to go to work, we have to pay the bills, we have to leave the house, basically. It's like 10th house, leaving the house. The higher hierarchy, it's related to our online world, right? Because the humans, they are not satisfied like animals. This is the difference between the humans and animals. They are both loaded by Jupiter and Mercury, by this Jiva Grahas, right? We have Dhatu, Mula, and Jiva. Dhatu is the objects, Mula are the plants, and Jiva are the living beings, right? So Jiva means to live. So there we have the humans and the animals. The Mercury is more the world of animals, but the Rahu is ruling generally animals. If you have Rahu in the 7th, you will love animals. or Aquarius in 7th. And the Jupiter is humans. This higher world, which are related to our meaning in life, direction in life. Now in this dystopic late stage capitalism, They are ruled by the by the online world. How to see heavy life past karma, right? Also, recently I was having the yesterday I was having the consultation with one lady which is involved in the coaching, and in the tradition or in the teachings, the main, or maybe not the main, but one of the assumption was that basically you probably know this law of attraction. Law of attraction. It's quite popular in the New Age circles. So it basically means that if you want to gain something in life, you have to visualize it, and by the power of attraction, if you are basically synchronizing the internal energy of yourself with that goal you want to get, right, then it will come to your life. In Vedic astrology, there are good houses and the bad houses. The word duh means bad. Something is evil, something is bad, it's negative. Duh karma, dusthana, right? Dukha. Sukha is the happiness, dukkha is suffering. And basically in the psychology, in academic psychology, we are also not escaping from the fact that there are bad things in life. There are emotions which are negative, like a shame, like a guilt, like we have a fear from something, which is basically treated as a negative emotion. And there is something like radical acceptance as a first step to overcome every type of mental challenges. The first step is basically the acceptance. If you have depression, you have to accept that you have depression, because otherwise you may have blaming yourself that you may be down about it, that you are down, right? So you have like a panic attack. It's a fear from fear. Similar in depression, you may feel bad about that you are feeling bad, right? So to avoid that vicious circle, one of the first thing is acceptance. In Vedic astrology, there is this also radical, I would say, radical acceptance and of something in your that something wrong is happening in your life, right? Because you have a bad karma, right? I mean, there is some part of good karma, there is some pile of bad karma, there is some pile of, I don't know, neutral karma. So there are many types of karma, and according to this Vedic astrology system, whatever challenging is happening to our lives is basically because of our bad karma in the past. So this is very much related to this ethical or moral system, right? So in that ethical moral paradigm, we are taught that there is this relationship between our desires, our words, and our action, and our future. So we are basically shaping our future by the presence, by the Vartmana. Right? The Vartmana means presence, and the future comes to us depending on what we are desiring, what we are speaking, and what we are doing now. So that is the basic assumption. Therefore, the Vedic astrology is very high when it comes to a very high branch, because why it is very high in the branches in the Vedic knowledge. It's one of Vedanga, because it has the influence. It is influencing basically many areas of life, right? It is having the control over other things. So if you forget to analyze that, then you can miss basically the root of what's going on. I told her that it's good to be aware of our weaknesses and also of our weak points in the chart. I think it's very releasing, it's very positive, it's very good, and you became aware of these weak points or shadow points, then you can get strength from this. Because in Vedic astrology, we are always giving remedy, we are always showing the good side, the positive side of things. When there is something negative in the chart, and we should use that word, negative, there is some bad karma, there is some curse, there is something bad, then if we see that in the chart, we are not leaving the clients. The astrologer shouldn't leave the client with that final, with that prediction that something bad will happen and there is no way to remedy. It's quite negative karma. You shouldn't do that as an astrologer. What you should do is that you should show what is the weak points, but the beauty about astrology is that everything is working in kind of groups. So there is nothing like one house which is controlling everything. It is all working in a group. So if one thing is problematic, then basically you can advise to go to other things, right? So it's all in groups. It's never that if there is some. This is very releasing knowledge, and I don't know if many people know about it. That, for example, people are thinking, "Oh, my 7th house is bad, so my marriage will be bad." It's not true. It's not true. First of all, the 7th house is controlling your first marriage only, right? so even the 2nd house is the second marriage. So it's the 7th, second. So then there is, first of all, there may be various marriages. It's not that all your married life will be bad. So this is the first thing. The second thing is that the relationship is not only 7th Lord, it's also Venus, it's also Navamsha, it's also... So there will be one aspect of relationship which will be suffering. But if you know that is very releasing for you, that is giving you, in fact, a lot of strength. Because then you may use this strong thing of your life, these strong levels of your life, right? And may then repair by taking the good resources, because everyone has very different access to various resources in life, in relationship, career life, health, and so on. And these resources are unevenly distributed, we could say. They are unevenly distributed. Some other people are having the good karma when it comes to Ayurveda. When you have Mercury in the 12th house, Mercury related to Moon, in the Navamsha and Rashi, in Trimshamsa, then the Ayurveda will, or any herbs type based medicine will work wonders for you. So Mercury basically try to heal you through movement, physiotherapy also will be good, and through plants, through these things. So it's very good to know what is not working, right? So I would say that when I see the negative, this is also important things to remember, that everything is in the groups in astrology. If there is bad yoga in astrology, it will show that this way is blocked. It's hard to go that way. It's hard to go that way. And then instead of wasting your resources of going that way, it may give you a food for thought. It may redirect you to go to another direction. This path is not for you. And what is interesting, you may use the other path to heal you and to repair the other things in your life. So this is the astrology. This is how I was taught and how I'm using the astrology basically to diagnose the shadows, let's call it shadows, some challenging places in your karmic body, let's say, in your karmic life, and then use another points of the chart which are repairing those places, right? So if you look at this from that perspective, as everything is in a group, and we are choosing that this direction will work. Okay, I think I made the point. What does it mean to have Ascendant Lord in dusthana? Neha Goyal is asking. Lagna Lord basically shows how you are thinking. It's basically a choices you are doing. So if Lagna Lord is in dusthana, then your choices are poor. This is called basically Daridra Kendra. I don't know if you know this concept. So there is some Daridra, there is some penury, there is some lack of resources, there is some problem related to your choices in life. The 3rd and 6th is more about, about the competition, about the challenges. So basically it shows how you are, how is your computer working, right? Because the Lagna is your computer. So the Ascendant Lord is how is your computer working. It also shows your ideals, right? So if you have exalted Lagna Lord, you have a high ideals. So the Lagna Lord is basically you moving in the world, how you are moving in the world. So if you have Lagna Lord in 6th house, you need to be careful about the Shadripus, about the weaknesses, because the weaknesses or enemies, the weaknesses are basically the internal enemies. So they are inner enemies and outer enemies. The outer enmity is coming basically from our inner enmity, right? So if Lagna Lord is in 6th house, you need to be careful so the Shadripu will not swallow you, right? Because you are having some connection, some contact with Saturn. Your intelligence, when your Lagna Lord is in 6th house, you have some contact with Saturn. You may be tempted. You may be, it's easy for conflict because the 6th house is like very easily. You are in contact with that thing. Okay, guys, thanks a lot for your questions. And I wish you nice weekend. Enjoy, guys.